God, nobody cued talent. Hello, this is WNEI's Live News. I'm John Mulhern.
And I'm John Olenek.
Larry Davis has been found not guilty of the attempted murder of 6 police officers. Though acquitted of the attempted murder charges of the police officers, Davis was convicted of 6 gun possession charges. Davis still faces 2 drug-related homicide charges, a kidnapping charge, a robbery charge, and a charge of assaulting a corrections officer. And every parent's dream, huh? Now, speaking of every parent's dream, here's John Olenek.
This just handed to me. Thank you. And now a WNEI Bush cabinet update. President-elect George Bush's White House budget director will be Richard G. Darman, and his new chairman of the Council of Economics will be Michael J. Boskin. Nicholas F. Brady will be Treasury Secretary, and James A. Baker will be Secretary of State. This so far makes 4 people whose names we will forget about a year into the new administration. Quayle, whose name we will remember, but whose face will slip our minds, was publicly reprimanded by Bush for referring to the cabinet as that bunch of guys who do keen things. And you know, I'm not just president of the Teeth Club for Men. I'm also a client. Oh, and now a special commentary on Environmental Awareness Week from a representative of the NYPIRG, John Waters, the New York Public Interest Research Group.
Yes, thank you very much, John. I'm here to inform Queens College students about Environmental Awareness Week, December 5th through the 8th. We intend to have specialists from NYPIRG's expert staff to talk about garbage, in fact. Garbage is not a very pleasant subject, but something that we all produce and something in which the New York City Department of Sanitation wants to burn. By burning garbage, you're going to produce thousands of toxics into the air, including dioxins, which are arguably some of the most deadliest known to man. NYPIRG has a much cleaner, safer alternative to burning garbage, which is recycling. Much, much cleaner, much safer. Studies have shown that 90% of our garbage is recyclable, yet New York City wants to either bury it or burn it. We want to return it. Remember, burn. Burning is extremely dangerous. Return, don't burn. Environmental Awareness Week will be conducted December 5th through the 8th. We'll have panelists of special concerns to all Queens College students, and we'll have environmental films that deal with environmental quality stuff. So we hope all Queens College students can come, and especially you here at WNEI, you are cordially invited. Thank you very much. John.
Thanks for that very stirring message.
Thank you. Egypt has granted full recognition to the Palestinian state proclaimed last week. Jordan's King Hussein said that the PLO has done its part to secure lasting peace in the Middle East. President Reagan, when asked if he would recognize the PLO, was quoted as saying, "Sure, I'd recognize the PLO anytime. It's that little squiggly country near Egypt." And you know, Mike Tyson shouldn't have called Robin Givens and her mother the slime of the slime. Tyson should have said some of the slime of the slime. Other slime to slime may include Sherman Helmsley, Sean Penn, Cher, Crazy Eddie, Robin Leach, and anyone who pays for KY jelly with a gasoline card. John?
Oh. Now here's John Hudson with famous and really interesting tape reviews.
Whoa! Hello! I'm on. That camera? Yes, it's Tape Talk. Right. Well, stars, no thank you. First of all, those of you who missed it last week, we're going to repeat that, yes, Jessica Barron lives at 100-17 Debs Place in the Bronx. Her phone number is 212-320-0053. Or you can try 976-2626, touch-tone phones only. Well, to start off, thank you, John, both of you. My parents caught me again with the 10-year-old neighbor's daughter and the jar of cold cream, so they took away my TV and VCR privileges again, not to mention my collection of whips and chains. So the video review is going to be a little short today. Well, that great holiday Thanksgiving is coming up just around the corner, and boy, my nipples are exploding with excitement. For starters, I mean, it's a great time to see all those wonderful family members come on over and stuff their greedy little faces full of food. I love how my goofy Uncle Reuben comes over and goes through my video collection and takes a large, powerful powerful magnet and just wipes down the entire shelf. He's always doing silly things like that. Tears are brought to my eyes when my youngest cousin drools in the onion soup and then throws up on the table. And finally, oh yes, my cousin Spike. Good old attractive cousin Spike, that gorgeous 12-year-old girl who takes her tongue and just tickles the tip of... Anyway, Thanksgiving is coming around, and it's time for food, time for parties, and large balloon creatures to float past the windows of Macy's, and time for the 40th showing of A Miracle on 34th Street on Channel 9. So, of course, being a peaceful holiday, I should review movies in which heroes help their friends non-violently, but I'm not going to. For starters, Willow, that Ron Howard, George Lucas fantasy flick that took a heavy beating from the critics, will be on sale midway through the holiday season. Now, if you're a die-hard fantasy fan and you missed this film, wake up. In contradiction to what the critics have said about Willow, it is not Star Wars wrapped inside The Hobbit. It is, however, an eyeful in both costumes and sets, with a very interesting yet simple storyline to clip it together. The film stars Val Kilmer from Top Gun and Warwick Davis, a.k.a. Wicket the Ewok from Return of the Jedi. Next, a typical Arnold Schwarzenegger shoot up the bad guys and blow up as many people as possible film, The Running Man, based on a Stephen King short story. Our hero Arnie plays a cop wrongly accused of killing innocent people who must play a very deadly game to win his freedom and several valuable prizes in this dark and sinister future society where TV is a way of life, like it isn't like that already. Well, in this future society, a bunch of people get axed, bumped off, choked, chopped, destroyed, executed, fried, gunned down, hit, incinerated, jabbed, killed, and every other word that goes along with an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. It also stars that multifaceted performer, Richard Dawson, and Yaphet Kotto of Alien fame. The film also contains a lot of action, bad puns, and blood. So, if you're looking for something more uplifting in appearance, you should try the most depressing animated film ever made, The Plague Dogs, brought to you by the same people who made Watership Down. It was made in England and released in U.S. theaters for only 1 week. It stars the voice of John Hurt as a dog. The story involves two dogs named Snitter and Rolf, who escape from a research lab and attempt to find a safe place to live. With the help of Todd, a fox, and a German shepherd, they travel across the countryside trying to find paradise with an army, hunters, and several men from the lab several steps behind them. And finally, a Francis Ford Coppola creation, The Conversation, a provoking mystery drama, which was nominated for the Best Picture of 1974. The film stars Gene Hackman, who plays an expert surveillance man, who hears something disturbing in his recording of a young couple in a park. This film also stars Harrison Ford, Frederick Frost, and Terry Garr, who will be marrying David Letterman later on this month. So break out the frozen turkey, warm it up on your VCR, and prepare to meet all those great relatives you know so well, like Aunt Bunny, Grandma Edith, and good old Uncle Mark, who you'll start to call Aunt Meredith once the stitches heal. So head down to your local video dealer and check them out. John, back to you, John.
How do you do it, John?
How do I do what? Well, in, out, like everybody else. Unless you want to try another position.
Sounds like it's right up your alley, and I mean that. I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize for the way in which all politicians and other various government officials have been treated in this program. It was never the station's intention to imply that politicians are weak-kneed, yellow-bellied, numb, and faceless party playing pieces, or to say that they were merely political time servers who are concerned merely with their personal vendettas and private power struggles. Ah, gee whiz, that the problems of government, be it national or international, nor to suggest that at any point that they sacrifice their credibility by actually answering questions that are put to them instead of putting up a lot of political double talk and similar things of that nature. Or to say that they insist on their position, their party unity, government appearance long before the well-being of the people who they supposedly represent, or to imply at any stage that they are squabbling little reptilian slime who lust after money and power and without an ounce of concern for the vital social concerns of today that indeed these viewers should be considering right now. And seeing them as the ulcerous little self-seeking vermin with furry legs and excessive addiction to alcohol and certain explicit sexual practices which John Olenek certainly practices, which some people may find offensive. I'm sorry if this station has any way come across as fiendish and bizarre. You wouldn't find that here in any way, shape, or form. That's all the news we have for you today. Good God, I hope never to see anything like this again.
Tune in again next week.
John, you okay? Oh, here, you don't look so bad. Take another.
Ride in South Dakota with two girls in the light blue soda. One's name was Jane, the other was Blaine, but the both.
Hudson and John Mulhern.
Hello?
Welcome. I'm John Olenek. Welcome to WNEI's Live News with commentaries by John Hudson and John Mulhern. Joel B. Steinberg allegedly I can't read this handwriting. Oh, I'll just do this.
Allegedly.
I'll just do this one.
You better throw it out then. Oh, you need it. Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm going to read the bottom one. Bouquet de Pavillon, a still life painting by Edward Manet, was stolen yesterday from the Heckscher Museum in Huntington. The theft apparently took place as patrons of the museum were watching a videotape in the same area. According to police, 2 security guards were in the museum covering 4 display rooms, but, quote, at all times they can't be sitting at the front door. The Manet, according to museum officials, was worth over $1 million and had been loaned to the museum by an anonymous lender. Boy, whoever he is, he's going to be pissed. And now here's John Hudson with a plethora of perusals of the pictures of the period. Tape talk. John?
Thank you, John, for saying such a silly, stupid statement. Well, this weekend, well, actually, let's, just step back a moment. I'd like to get back from video reviews and talk about maybe the performing arts. Well, not really.
No.
Let's talk about VCRs.
No.
No.
Yeah.
What should we talk? Oh, let's talk about movies in the theater. Not
All right,
about
yeah,
classes,
let's
but
get
let's
to
talk
it.
about movies. Movie theater.
I'm all
This
for it.
holiday season, which was Thanksgiving for those of you who are in comatose state, I saw Scrooge, starring Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it got destroyed by most critics. Bill Murray actually didn't like it, which is unfortunate. It's a 1980s version of the Charles Dickens classic, and it's definitely going to scare the Dickens out of you. Not my joke. It stars cameos of Lee Majors, Jamie Farr, Buddy Hackett, the late Ann Ramsey, John Forsythe, the late John Houseman, Paul Schaefer, President Ford, or should I say ex-President Ford,
Gerald
Dave
Ford.
Sanborn, and the even later Mary Lou Retton. Also starring Bill Murray in the role of Scrooge. Actually, it's a different character. And also Carol Kane, Karen Allen, and Bobcat Goldthwait.
Goldthwait.
I'm sorry. Must be all the beer I'm drinking. I personally enjoy this film very much, very, very much. Unfortunately, Bill Murray didn't, and the critics didn't. But if you leave in maybe the last minute and a half, don't watch that part, you'll really enjoy this film. It was a lot of fun. And that's all I have to say, and I really hate ad-libbing. Back to you, John.
Hey, look, he's got a tent in his pants.
Ooh, mama.
Is it a one-man tent, a pup tent, or
The Arab League ambassador to the UN yesterday gained enough votes to move a General Assembly session to Geneva so that PLO chief Yasser Arafat can address the world's body on the Palestinian issue. I don't understand this whole PLO thing. I think they should write a Middle East primer, see Yasser run Yasser run. Never mind. And now here's John Mulhern with a commentary on life in the Amber Zone. John.
How about that earthquake, huh? Scary, right?
Very scary.
Not as
Really
bad
scary.
as that right there, but pretty scary nonetheless.
Very scary.
I've heard not anything that scary since, oh, gee, I'd have to go all the way back to about 5 minutes ago when you started your thing on the Arab nations. Well, all right. Thank you very much.
No problem.
You know what's really scary? Ernest Saves Christmas is actually making money. That's what scares me. I don't know about you people, but that's what scares me. But the most scary thing is 2 Japanese companies are actually investing up to $26 million in a movie starring Mick Jagger as a Nazi general, searching for $1 billion in gems. Sounds like the Japanese are finally going to drop a bomb on us. John?
Well, we're all out of time, which is good because, well, never mind. We're all out of time, which is good because this, never mind. Tune in next week when
We'll be back
That's
next
all the
week
news
for
we
more.
have for you this
people
week.
to watch.
Maybe next week we'll get back without our
And maybe
friend
we'll
here.
do real news, real serious
Take the
news,
graphics.
real serious stuff.
Also,
that you
take the
really wanna
graphics.
watch. There's absolutely nothing here.
When the ending music
Oh
goes
my
on.
God! Look, there's a naked woman under here. Jesus. Cue the music.
Ozone,
Roll the
your
credits.
music.
Uh oh.
About time, Ozone.
Oh yeah.
Now, when I was a young boy.
I'm John Mulhern.
And I'm Jeff Nelson.
That's the news.
Take it easy. Put the graphic up.
Well, you know, I wish I could have seen you. Wait, can I get one of those back, please? Let's rerun those graphics. I'm sure I missed something. There you go. Do I have to have this guy behind me? I really don't trust guys behind me, if you know what I mean. That was the worst. That was the worst.
Good afternoon and welcome to WNEI's Free Hour News. Today's date, October 31st, 1988. I'm Jason Robert Chin. With me is John Mullen and John Hudson. And today's news. Imelda Marcos arrived in New York yesterday to face charges of government racketeering. The 6-count indictment included a broad conspiracy to steal from the country that her husband, Ferdinand Marcos, once led. The indictment also includes hiding funds in a Swiss bank account, secretly investing $103 million in a Manhattan real estate and artworks, and lying to city and state tax officials about their ownership and residency. The main charge carries a prison sentence of 20 years. Ferdinand Marcos, who is 71, was too frail to make the trip, and his arraignment has been postponed until a United States government doctor can see to him. And now, John Mulhern.
Thanks, Jay. In election news today, one-time underdog George Bush turned a 17-point deficit into a 14-point lead. Dukakis, feeling the heat, campaigned heavily in the Midwest. Donning a plaid shirt, claiming he was for the middle class, Dukakis said, "Republicans are for those who live high on the hog. We are for those who raise hogs." Dukakis' strategy is to capture the states with many electoral votes, such as California and North Dakota. Bush's strategy, on the other hand, is to take just one of these states, thereby eliminating any chance of a Dukakis victory. With a little more than a week to go into the election, and taking into account the unpredictable nature of this race, it promises to be one of the closest races in years. Jay?
4 members of a gang of skinheads were arrested for allegedly attacking a man in a Manhattan Path subway station and threatening to harm his 3-month-old daughter. William Stump objected to the group's neo-Nazi rhetoric, and for his efforts, the 5 men and 3 women proceeded to assault him. They threatened the baby who was in a stroller. The child and her mother were unharmed. According to police, at least 30 men and women were on the platform at the time, and they did nothing to attempt to help this man. Later, none came forward as a witness. And now, with some commentary on video releases, is our very own John Hudson.
Thank you, Jay. Well, all the kids are done with their trick-or-treating. They've gone door-to-door in your neighborhood, making complete fools of themselves, dressed like a moron, and begged everybody you know for candy. Well, so now their empty little heads need to be entertained for the rest of the evening until they burn out on their heavy sugar intake. So what to do? Well, if your little bundle of love has smashed the TV tube with his Rambo death gear, you're stuck reading them Peter Rabbit once again. But if not, I have a collection of animated films that you and that little crumb snatcher can enjoy together. For starters, the Disney classic Cinderella was released on videocassette. Now, if you have no idea what this film is about, please get a life. Just go down to the cellar and drink yourself into a coma because your parents didn't love you. Next, another Disney classic, The Wind in the Willows. Yes, you too can laugh and be merry at the adventures of the lusting toad. Yes, this film has everything that children's films should have to help develop their innocent minds, such as a talking horse, a toad who gets himself arrested for grand theft auto, and a collection of beer-swilling weasels. If your children are not up to a timeless classic, but rather senseless violence, then look for Transformers the movie. What we have here is an 86-minute commercial introducing new toys, but the animation is fairly decent and the story is simple. What we have is a planet-eating monster named Unicron, Optimus Prime and his Autobots, and Megatron and his Decepticons, plus a cast of thousands, battle it out for the ownership of their home planet Cybertron. Scores of planets and robots bite the bullet and die as they romp about the galaxy in search of places to try to kill each other. Backing them up is a heavy metal soundtrack, and it stars the voices of Judd Nelson, Robert Stack, Leonard Nimoy, Orson Welles, and Eric Idle. Now, if you have a little Captain Kirk, Han Solo, or RoboCop running around your home trying to capture, interrogate, and microwave Fido, next up is an animated science fiction film originally released in 3D. Its title, Star Chaser: The Legend of Orin. This film is Star Wars with Buck Rogers in 2001 thrown in. Follow young Orin as he travels from his prison mine world through swamps, desert planets, and a large space station in search of a missing blade in order to free his people from the evil robot Nexus 6, who wants to replace all humans with more intelligent robots. We should get him to do something about the candidates. Throughout his journey, Orin meets mutants, killer robots, space pirates, shapely female droids, and a talking ship's computer. The animation is done by computer, so most of the scenes are well done. Now, if you feel that a full-length film will just mean you'll have to sit in the same room with your child for more than 20 minutes, your local video dealer also rents out tapes with several cartoons on them. For example, The Best of Bugs Bunny, Transformers: The Heavy Metal Wars, G.I. Joe Volume 3, or Here's Donald. That way you can fool your kid into thinking they've actually sat through a full film, just convince them that they fell asleep, give them a candy bar, and send them to bed for calling you a liar and a tyrant. Then pop in Jack's Back, RoboCop, or The Rosary Murders and enjoy. So if you feel that renting a video will solve all your family's problems, go down to the local video dealer and check them out. Back to you, John.
Why, thanks, John. In world news today, the first reusable space shuttle, Buran, suffered a major setback on Friday. When a safety platform failed to retract, TASS, the Soviet news agency, incorrectly stated that the delay would only be 4 hours. The setback, the third in recent weeks for the Soviet space program, showed that the Soviets are not immune to failure. General Gudlin, the man in charge of the launch, stated it would not be long before the launch would be attempted again. Jay?
Here back in the Student Union, Space Allocation Committee proposals to reallocate the deserted WQMC space has caused a coalition of the involved clubs to protest the committee's recommendations. The Women's Center, Muslim Club, Haitian Club, Caribbean Club, the Bio Honor Society, and the Asian Student Union now occupy the center corridor of the second floor of the union. The Space Allocation Committee plans to move the College Union Program Board into their space and to remove those clubs down into QMC's old offices. The Space Allocations Committee reviews all clubs housed within the student union and then makes its recommendations to Paul Simon, Executive Director of the union. He has the final say in all matters within this building. The fact that CUPB's chairman, Scott Bonder, is on the Space Committee has not been overlooked by the clubs opposing the move. SAC has apparently written WQMC off the books as its monies have been reallocated and its offices filled. A small reminder, any opinions or views aired during WNEI News are not that of its producer or WNEI, the club, or the television station. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Thank you. I'm Jason Chin with John Mulhern and John Hudson. On WNEI's news, working cameras today were Tori Palmer and Jeff Nelson. On audio were Peter. Our PA production assistant was Ozone. Technical director Ian Oziel. The writers were Jason Robert Chin, John Mulhern, and John Hudson. The director and producer were Jerry Ball. His assistant director was Kathy Camarados. Assistant to Mr. Chin was Jessica Barron. Thank you and good afternoon. This is Queens College.
Go surfing now, everybody's learning how. Come on a safari with me. Come on a safari with me. Early in the morning we'll be starting out. Some honeys will be coming along. We're loading up our woody with our boards inside and heading out singing our song. Come on, baby, wait for yes, I'm gonna take you surfing with me on a long surf.
Robert Chin, and I'm here with John Olenek and John Hudson, and special commentary by John Mulhern. Tomorrow ends the longest and costliest presidential campaign in American history. As late polls continue to show a GOP lead, George Bush has promised not to leave anything to chance, as some polls showed Michael Dukakis closing in fast. Michael Dukakis is working an exhaustive campaign schedule, sleeping only on his private airplane. He is concentrating on those voters who remain undecided. George Bush, feeling the heat, is closely following Dukakis, hoping to counteract Dukakis' advertising blitzes and personal campaigns. And now here's John Olenek with another story.
Thank you, Jason. Joel Steinberg's fingernails have become an important factor in his prosecution. According to the prosecuting attorneys, police could not test Steinberg's nails for blood or skin because he had bitten them to the nub. Steinberg's defense claims that the cause of Steinberg's nail biting was a nervous nature and not any desire to destroy important evidence. Defense are trying to use a courtroom photo of Steinberg biting his fingernails as evidence for this claim. Jason?
Okay, today is November 7th. Tomorrow is November 8th, Election Day. So be reminded, Queens College is closed. State and local government offices and courts are also closed, as are all public schools. Post offices and federal offices are also closed. Subways, buses, and all forms of public transportation will follow regular weekday schedules. And now with a little video extra comedy bit, something like that, is Mr. John Hudson.
Thank you, Jay. So you had a rough week. You failed that last midterm, your car won't start, and maybe you find out that your girlfriend's really a guy. So you need something to cheer you up, something that's going to make you laugh, something funny. Well, you're not going to get anything from me. However, you will get a laugh from this week's video picks. That's right, all you Einsteins, comedy is the subject of this week. First off, there's the infamous Plan 9 from Outer Space, starring Tor Johnson of Plan 9 from Outer Space fame, and that Elvira lookalike, Vampira. So whether you're a science fiction fan or not, this is a must for everyone. Trust me on this one. This film was either poorly made or it was a bad joke. The acting is some amateur, the special effects are childish, the writing is poor, and the film oozed badness from every wretched scene. But it's so bad it's funny. And the plot has something to do with aliens, paper plates, and airplane pilots. Next up is a true comedy of errors, Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, starring John Candy of Spaceballs and The Great Outdoors, and Steve Martin of Roxanne and Little Shop of Horrors fame. Take a typical family-oriented businessman and stick him with a fat, loud, dopey shower curtain ring salesman and send them 200 miles away from their destination, and what you get is a hysterical journey through the world of transportation. It has a bit of a sad ending, but it's packed full of laughs. Next, another comedy of errors film, also with Steve Martin, All of Me, also starring Lily Tomlin. This flick is about an old rich bitch, sort of like Joan Collins, who wants her soul placed in a young woman's body. But as her soul is transported, it ends up in the body of lawyer Steve Martin. Steve and Lily now share the same body, each controlling opposite halves. They now must get her soul out of his body and into the young woman. Granted, it won't be easy, for the young woman has changed her mind about taking in the old woman's soul. This is, I feel, Steve Martin at his best. The story moves quickly, and there's a nice toe-tapping soundtrack. Now, if you want some action with your comedy, then look for Steven Spielberg's Inner Space, starring Martin Short. You may know him as Ed Grimley. And Dennis Quaid of Suspect and Enemy Mine. What we have here is a sci-fi flick in the tradition of Fantastic Voyage with a little bit of James Bond thrown in. Test pilot Tuck Pendleton is miniaturized and accidentally injected into the body of Martin Short, who plays the character of a truly harmless grocery clerk. Now it is up to the Martin Short Dennis Quaid team to stop the bad guys, get the girl, and save the day, with Short doing the legwork and Dennis Quaid directing from within. This film's special effects are fantastic, and it has a truly interesting story. But if you want something really funny, just look at the men up for election, including those VP candidates. But if that's too scary for some of you, go down to your local video dealer, walk to the comedy section, and check them out. Back to you, John.
Thank you, John. Two homeless men trapped in a burning construction shack were rescued by police detective Chris Johnson, who was on special duty for yesterday's New York Marathon. 26-year-old Johnson collapsed after the rescue outside the municipal building in Lower Manhattan. According to Johnson, shortly after 8:30 a.m., Johnson saw smoke and flames coming from the entrance to a construction shack. Johnson entered the burning shack and forced two homeless people outside who were too scared to move. The two homeless men refused medical treatment and left the scene, but Detective Johnson was taken to a hospital. A fire department spokesman said that the fire was probably started by the two homeless men. Jason?
Yes, in an impassioned plea, in a impassioned ceremony yesterday, Cardinal John O'Connor called on all worshippers at St. Patrick's Cathedral to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Kristallnacht by following his lead and placing a lighted candle in the window of their homes. Kristallnacht, the Night of Broken Glass, is the name given to the night of November 9th, 1938, when the Nazis burned and terrorized Jewish homes, businesses, and synagogues. It is generally recognized as the beginning of the Holocaust. And now, with a special political commentary, is Mr. John Mulhern.
Thanks, Jay. Bush. Dukakis Bush. Chances are you've made up your mind already, but the question is, are you going to vote? You see, this nation doesn't amount to a hill of beans if you don't vote. More than 200 years ago, Americans fought and died for, amongst other things, the right to vote. This election year is expected to have one of the lowest turnouts in American history. Is this what Americans fought and died for? No, I don't think so. The freest nation on earth does not take advantage of its God-given right to vote. It's despicable. I mean, I wouldn't give 2 cents for this country if there wasn't just a little looking out for the other guy. And for the sake of the country, if nothing else, please vote, because if you don't use it, you may lose it. Thank you. Jay?
Okay, thank you. It's been WNEI News, and you're watching it during Free Hour, November 7th, 1988. And now for a small political commentary. Please, tomorrow, vote for Michael Dukakis as president. Thank you for watching WNEI's news, entertainment, information.
Everybody's learning how. Come on a safari with me.
I knew this guy. There we go. The suspect.
Hello, good afternoon, welcome to WNEI's Free Hour Fake News. I'm Jason Robert Chin, and
I'm John Mulhern.
And I'm Diane Sawyer. These stories and others right after this. Jay?
President-elect George Bush has made his first major gaffe while visiting his mother in Florida this week. It seems Mr. Bush mistook his mother for his wife and slept with her twice before realizing his mistake. When asked for comment, Mrs. Bush was reported as saying, "That's strange, George never asked for seconds at home." Now here's Johnny Mulhern.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks. Oh, yes, on Vice President George Bush news, Vice President, President-elect George Bush and Senator Vice President-elect Dan Quayle are vacationing after last week's resounding defeat of the Democrats. Each is enjoying his own favorite hobbies. George Bush has been seen hunting and fishing and swimming in the ocean. Dan Quayle, on the other hand, was seen touring playgrounds saying, "I'll let you be the Secretary of the Interior if you touch my wee-wee." Jay?
The Space Allocations Committee responded to charges of conflicts of interest here today in the student union. At issue is the proposed transfer of some 50 clubs to the basement while CUPB claims that space and opens a massage parlor. The clubs opposing the move have joined together and have taken the name of that old pro-constipation group, Stop the Move. When asked for a comment, the Space Allocations Committee said, they're just a bunch of whining, wetback, smelly, foreign sissy heads anyway. Thank God I was starving. They belong in the basement. When asked his position on the situation, President-elect George Bush said, "What the hell are you talking about? Get out of my way, goddammit!" Vice President-elect Dan Quayle said, "Yeah, what he said. Well, I'll get my daddy." And now, with all kinds of funny, humorous stuff that was typed, as opposed to my handwriting stuff, is everyone's favorite lesbian lover, John Hudson.
Hello. Yes, now before we get into the video reviews, I have one thing to say. I'm sure prepare for a rise. Prepare for a rise. Everyone follow me back here to the map. I'm sure most of you have been wondering.
A satellite map.
Exactly, yes. Where?
Computer graphics. The New York area, if you will.
It's 100.
And if you want, I guess I will.
Deb's place in Bronx, New York.
Where?
Right here.
Where?
Right here, in Bronx, New York. Right? And the phone number is 212-320-00310. Yes.
That's 1-800-JESSICA. 1-800...
Now,
Call for news, information, or
that's right, we're back.
entertainment.
Video releases, boys and girls. Of course, there's probably nobody watching, so all I have to say is that these guys are a bunch of laughs and I'm only slime. But who is John Hudson, and what is he really like? I'll bet you've woken up in the middle of the night and asked yourself the very same question. Well, I feel damn blessed to be at the same makeshift desk with these guys. I might not have a tie like Jay does, or a clip-on mic like they do, or a chair with wheels, but stop that. I know they don't consider me like a hockey puck, just like our audio man, Mr. Scamper. Yet, why am I here? Do I enjoy doing this? No. Is it because they pay me to do this? Please get real. Is it because I really care about what you, the viewing audience, cares about? What's on your video dealer's shelf? No. Why do I exist? Why am I here? I'm almost sure that Jerry Ball has several topics and information on the topic. But basically, I just love being here, being harassed by the camera people, sitting close to these large styrofoam letters that can fall down on us at any moment and kill somebody. Ugh. But, you know, I try to be funny, and no, you damn people just don't give a damn. I try to be funny, I come out here, hell, I'm a college student, okay? I walk around my house naked at 3:30 in the afternoon, I eat spaghetti with my fingers, I like to make funny noises with my ankles. But do you people care? No, I'm not even gonna read the rest of what I wrote here. The hell with you all!
I think you should stun him now.
Back to you, Jay. Oh, wait, E.T. has been released and it sells for under $30. But of course, I'll be starting treatment for the large green pus-oozing cyst on the tip of my finger next month. Jay?
Thank you, John. And he really can make strange noises with his ankles. I've seen him do it, you know. And now with some other funny stuff, allegedly, is Mr. Mulhern.
Thanks, Jason, you alleged chin. Yes, it's that time of the year again.
But some plastic surgery.
I'm talking, and I would appreciate some professional candor, please. For the love of Christ!
I had some amateur candor once.
Was it good?
Repeated on me for weeks.
No, I'm interested, really.
Okay,
but there's a homo creeping
Go ahead
around
with
back
your little
in.
cute story on
All right, one thing, Ian. it's quite good. Yes, it's that time of the year again. A few weeks after Halloween, a few weeks before Thanksgiving. That's right, it's Christmas time again. Soon Crazy Eddie will be hawking his wares and will be subjected to endless hours of vacuous entertainment. Clearly disguised as Christmas specials. To be young again, having my nuts roasted over an open fire. But we're running short of time and I go on too long. But I'd just like to say that it is the holiday season, the cold and flu season, and pickpocket season, the cold, flu, pickpocket, and suicide season. So remember, keep your coat buttoned, your hand on your wallet, and your eye in the sky. Until next time, with Play-Doh and blocks, here's Jason Chin.
Now a word from our sponsor. New legal size maxi pads. Now that President Lincoln will be stepping down in January, he can look forward to being included into a much more prestigious position. Sorry, I forgot where you were. Ronald Reagan's hair will be placed in a vacuum-sealed chamber in the Unnatural Hair Hall of Fame. The president's hair joins the hair of such celebrities such as Elvis Presley, Casey Kasem, William Shatner, David Letterman, Oprah Winfrey, and Yul Brynner. And now for some good news. As of this hour,
About time.
Dan Quayle, Al Sharpton, Louis Farrakhan, Muammar Gaddafi, Ernest B. Worrell, Pia Zadora, and Brigitte Nielsen have all imploded. Filming residue at 11. Thank you. That's today's live news. I hope you're watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please go home and tell all your neighbors.
Look, I'm a three-letter man. I was John Mulhern until this show started.
And I'm George Takei. Tune in again next week.
This was Kathy's lunch, but now it's mine.
Cue the music.
Cue audio.
I thought we just did it.
Pete, you floor managed. I'm going to jam this up your ass.